Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today as we are sitting here talking about WWE's Roadblock Into the Line 2016 pay-per-view, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns in the main event. I think that honestly, when this goes down over the history of time, the match that everyone will remember is the Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks Iron Woman match that went 30 minutes plus. With an overtime that went almost 5 more minutes to decide the Women's Championship of Charlotte, winning her 4th Women's Championship by beating Sasha Banks. I think that honestly the match of the night has to go to Cesaro and Sheamus beating the New Day, ending the streak of I can't remember how many days it's been, but they've held this championship 478 days, according to Wikipedia, where they won these championships by beating Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, I believe, before WrestleMania forever ago. I can't even remember the last time that they had... I can't remember when they won them. Whenever 478 days was, I tell you that much. I mean, they beat teams like the Dudleys, they beat the Club, they beat Enzo and Kaz, they beat Cesaro and Sheamus. Almost every team that's gone up against them, they found a way to beat them, or they lost to them in a non-title match, and they didn't have to give it up. So give it up to those guys. They wrestled to a really, really good match. The New Day kept on using trickery, trying to use Xavier Woods on the outside to make it a 3-on-2 match. They were getting away with it, but it ended up being Cesaro running over to make it look like he made a tag to Sheamus. Sheamus stormed into the ring, took a big move, the Paradise move from Kofi Kingston, and then Cesaro came running over as the legal man, rolled up Kofi Kingston for the championship, and it was a sight to see. New Day not wanting to drop the titles, but they finally gave him up, and then they did the whole good guy, bad guy thing with Cesaro and Sheamus, where Sheamus took the belts, and he went and he celebrated with them, as Cesaro wanted to go out into the crowd and celebrate with those guys out there. On the pre-show match, we saw Rusev defeat Big Kaz in a match that basically is setting up Monday Night Raw. Rusev won via count-out, so I'm guessing that this is probably going to be a program that's not going to end on Raw tomorrow, but gonna last for a little while, seeing how the Royal Rumble is a little while away, and I would be surprised if Rusev isn't involved in the Royal Rumble match itself. Sami Zayn wrestled Braun Strowman to a 10-minute draw in my mind, but because of the challenge of nobody being able to last 10 minutes with Braun Strowman, Sami Zayn was crowned the winner. Nothing really big in this besides for Braun Strowman just beating the holy hell out of Sami Zayn for 10 minutes. Mick Foley coming down because he was concerned for Sami Zayn, wanting to stop the match, but Sami Zayn pleaded with him and ended up finding a way to make it through the 10 minutes, and Sami Zayn was crowned the winner. Bad match in my mind. From there we go to Seth Rollins defeating Chris Jericho. Not really much of a match here, but Kevin Owens came down to try and help Chris Jericho. Ended up disrupting Chris Jericho more than Seth Rollins, as Seth Rollins hit a pedigree, and Rollins walked off with the victory. From there we went to Rich Swann defeating T.J. Perkins and Brian Kendrick, and pretty much a dud of a match. Nothing really spectacular here. The fans were ready to head to the bathroom. The fans were ready to go grab a soda or a pretzel or a piece of pizza. You could really tell the fans in the arena weren't into this. It made it to the point where I really wasn't into it at all. It's almost like the cruiserweight matches have become the new Divas match of today. Rich Swann got it the win, and then we had a returning Neville making his way down to the ring, attacking Rich Swann, as well as T.J. Perkins, taking out everybody in sight, sort of saying that he is the new guy to check out with the cruiserweight division. Neville is a guy that honestly hasn't been doing a lot in a while. I mean, the last high-profile match that Neville had in my mind was his SummerSlam match with the guy from that television show where they took on Wade Barrett and Stardust. So that's been well over a year. Since then, I really can't think of Neville doing anything much, but he has been injured. Even though he did come back from his injury, not really doing much besides for house shows and TV live events. Charlotte Flair won her 4th championship by defeating Sasha Banks. I'm guessing that she'll go the way of fighting Bayley next. And in the main event, we saw Kevin Owens defeat Roman Reigns because of the interference from Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho coming in, hitting a code breaker on Kevin Owens, making it look like they were going in the direction of Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho, but then Chris Jericho grabbed the championship, Chris Jericho grabbed the championship and handed it to Kevin Owens, and then they stood up and celebrated, showing that they had sort of won each other over, and they were still best friends. They found a way to escape the Roman Reigns match and keep the championship between them. This brought out Seth Rollins, who trapped Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho between him and Roman Reigns, and then from there they delivered the double power bomb, Shield style, through the announce table, and the pay-per-view ended. And that was all she wrote from Battleground. Not really that great of a show, but a few good matches. The Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks is one that I hope is on DVD sooner than later, or at least making a WWE rivalries on the WWE Network. I think that'll be really fun. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to a few things from Monday Night Raw, but not a whole lot.